Welcome to the Mindset by Design podcast with your host, the expert Andy Murphy, where you will learn the tips, tricks, and strategies he teaches his world-class clients to give you the skills to dominate any business.
What's going on, Mindset by Design crew, and welcome to episode 286. Hope you are amazing as always. Absolutely, as always. Firstly, I want to, is this microphone better? Is this microphone better? This is my real microphone. This is not my travel microphone. And what's crazy is that I've been on the move now for 5 months, and I've finally got back to sitting in the US, and it's pretty damn nice. It doesn't matter what the chaos is going on the outside. Day-to-day life, it's beautiful, right? The media biases, the political agendas, it doesn't matter. People are just people, and people are just trying to survive and do their best. And the challenge becomes people get angry and frustrated and take sides and create violence and anger and do all of this stuff. And it's so bizarre because all we want is the same thing. Just a nice life, right? That's all we want. We want to be respected. We want to be able to feed ourselves. We want to be able to look after our families. We want to be able to travel. We want the freedom to do that. We want to be able to express our ideas. We want to be able to create businesses if we want to. We want to be able to have enough money that we can help charities and poor. And do you know what I mean? Isn't that what everybody just wants? Nobody wants to sit in a job that they hate for 8 to 10 hours a day until they go home and then they feel tired and stressed and overwhelmed. And then guess what? Well, you watch TV and then pass out and don't spend any time with the family. Not present in the slightest. Stressed about tomorrow. Not sleeping correctly. Diet's off. Guess what? That's because they've been trained to live in fear. Right? So when you start to understand these dynamics, fear or growth, fear or love, fear or expression, fear or the artist, right? What you got to understand is you are the artist of your own life. You are. You're painting this thing from your imagination. And it doesn't really matter who says you can't do stuff, who has an opinion, who judges you, what political party says you can or can't do stuff, what country says you can or can't get into. It doesn't matter. Your agenda, your mission, your drive, your intuition leading to you towards that dream that's sitting there in your imagination every single day. Do you know that image that when you get stressed and overwhelmed, you start to focus on, that brings you right back to your dream and switches on that passion and motivation again? Do you know that moment? Do you know that feeling? Of course you do. And that's the feeling that I always want you to feel. Because the truth is, we do not know what's going to happen in the world. You can't control a damn thing, but you can control you. And what makes someone masterful? What makes someone have a mind on fire? What makes someone build their mindset by design is really one thing: desire. Desire to create something so special that you can look back at the end of your life and the journey that you've been on and be so damn proud. Why? Because you gave it everything you've got and you didn't fall into living in fear. There's so many people living in fear right now, and it just changes your focus onto something that you don't want. Do you want to live in fear? Do you want to wake up with anxiety? No. So it's time now to do something different for yourself, right? Everyone's focused on the end of the year. Oh, we're in November now, 2020. Yay, it's Christmas. Another distraction. Now, I love Christmas. Christmas is badass. And if you were a regular listener for the past 6 years, you're going to know that I love New Year's Eve, love Christmas, love birthdays. They're new chapters, new moments where you can make new decisions. And those new decisions lead to the next stage of your life, right? Remember that. everything that led you up to this moment right now, sitting where you're sitting, thinking the things that you're thinking, is from the past, right? Nothing you don't know, right? This is what's being stored chemically in your brain. This is what's going to be stored neurologically in your brain, the software, what's going to be stored in your nervous system, right? This is all going to affect how you see the world. It's going to affect your decisions. But the truth is, the brain is malleable, right? And because the brain is malleable and genetics are malleable, it wants to adapt to new environments. This is how we've survived as a human species, man, right? So the thing about this is that when you understand that, damn, it gets exciting. Why does it get exciting? It gets exciting because you can truly grow. If you put yourself into unique, stressful situations or way outside of your boundary conditions in your brain or the box or your comfort zone, right? Then understand, once you start stretching yourself into the unknown, what happens is the brain, the body, the chemistry, the biology, you as a person has to grow. It has to expand. There's no Olympic athlete that's ever won a gold medal that didn't put themselves in situations that they didn't know what was going to happen. That's what happens. So what is it right now that you need to step into with all of your intent, all of your intensity, all of your mission, all your drive, all your focus, all your desire? What is it? What would it do for you if you achieved it? Right? Think about this. What would it do for you if you achieved it? What would happen if you didn't go for it? Make sense? Right. And that's the point in life. At the end of the day, life's going to happen. You're going to wake up tomorrow, probably, right? The sun's going to probably shine, probably. But the truth is, you're always going to be there. People are going to come, people are going to go. Circumstances are going to come, circumstances are going to go. Money's going to come and money's going to come. At the end of the day, you are still going to be here. So what is the decision that you need to make next about your business, about your income, about networking, about sales, about the future, about the next step, about the idea that keeps gnawing you inside, right? And the truth is, it doesn't matter what level of the game you're playing at. You could be on 5 figures right now with an idea in your head. You could be on 7, 8, 9 figures a year right now, and you're wanting the next level. It doesn't matter. We'll understand that the brain and the body always goes back to comfort, right? So once we start to understand that comfort, we got to understand that nothing happens there, right? Well, things do actually happen there. But it's the same things, right? With my life, and people I'm around and high performers, everyone that's driving forwards, that's who I love. That's who I love to help. That's who I love to tune. That's who I love to take to a level that they didn't know was possible in their thinking. The precision of their thinking, right? The expansiveness of their thinking. The ability to hold focus for hours and hours. The ability to control their emotional state, switch on a belief, put themselves on stages and sales and perform like they didn't know was possible. All of this doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't. And when you start to understand that the brain or the unconscious software is automated and you're behaving connected to what the program is. Does that make sense? So the movie in your head of the future or the next deal or the past is the one that's making you think, feel, and act a certain way. And when you understand that, it's beautiful. Because something that I do is we go in with clients, is we go into memories and we can actually change the structure. Yeah, it's true. We can change the structure. So the way you see a person or the perspective or the color or the words or the emotion, right? Or the decision or the mistake, we can override it. That's the beautiful thing. But once you learn how to do that, it's beautiful. I keep saying beautiful, right? But it's beautiful. Why? Because it puts you in the driver's seat. It puts you in the perspective of leadership. It puts you in a place that there's only you driving the ship, right? And if you believe in the universe, good, I do too. Believe in quantum physics and dimensions, I do too. Believe in straight science, good, I do too. And all of those things are just beliefs, perspective, or different ways to see the world. But the truth is, you can bring them all together. You can have a new perspective of the world, whatever works for you. At the end of the day, it's all about building your brain into a high-performance machine. That's what it is, building you into a high-performance machine. Does that make sense? I hope so. And it's probably nothing you don't know. But today, maybe you needed to hear this, right? Maybe you needed to hear this. That was a bit of a rant. I get it. It just come out of me. But I really hope everything's in flow. And I hope this has just empowered you. Because what today's topic is about is intelligence, right? And where memories are actually stored. And we're going to get into all of that. Because human intelligence possibly might have just got a lot less mysterious. And we're going to go into that in today's episode. Sound good? Awesome. And we're going to jump into it. I keep trying to keep these intros a little bit shorter than I used to, you know. Yes. 10-minute podcast used to take sometimes an hour. 5-minute intros used to be 45 minutes. I get it. Those are the early ones. But I really hope you're enjoying the shows I've been putting out recently. We got Dennis McKenna. The previous episode, 285, Dennis McKenna, as I say, he's been on Joe Rogan's show multiple times, and he is the godfather of psychedelics. And psychedelics isn't just about tripping and running around in the forest. It's about mental health, and you need to understand all about the biology in that one. He's the top guy in the world. So go and check that out. Episode 284. Stop Monday overwhelm and do this system instead. I had great feedback about that, so I really hope you go and listen to it or have listened to it. 283, building new brain for 2021. Probably a good idea, right? Probably a good idea with what's happened in the world. We all need a bit of a new brain, and that's a great episode for you to go and check out now. And episode 282, well, we had Eddie Van Halen. Eddie Van Halen passed away, and it was that week, and I wanted to make sure I put an episode out. Not that I was a huge fan of Eddie Van Halen, but I recognized he is a serious badass. So I want to look into his brain a little. And then we move to 281. This is the Mozart effect. And can the Mozart effect really help your business? And if you don't know what the Mozart effect is, hey, we're playing around with brain frequencies there. You definitely need to go and check that out. And then we jump to 280, which was my friend Tony Jeffries, owns the Top Boxing company, I suppose, or one of them, definitely in LA, but definitely in the US, and just a massive, every celebrity you can imagine has probably trained there with him, and he's also was an Olympian boxer and was actually the captain of the England team. But I've been on his show, he's been on mine, brilliant episode, and what else? I can keep going, but you get the idea. There's some good shows there. Go and check them out. And speaking of checking out, well, this week, probably I'm just waiting for the developers and everyone to finalize everything and go through, but we should be launching something quite special next week. Fingers crossed, right? It's getting close. Remember, I've been flying. I just got here. So it's a case of this is going to be so special. I'm not going to give you any links this week to click onto because I want you to wait till next week. Next week, I'm just pumped. I'm just pumped to speak to you about this and see if it's a right fit because I'm so excited. That's all I'm going to say. But head over to the show notes anyway, or head over to andymurphy.biz, and you can get all the latest and greatest stuff there. You can connect with me. Make sure that you're hanging out in the incubator group on Facebook, and that's just type in Mindset by Design incubator, and you will find us. You can always email me personally at andy@mindsetbydesign.co. So that's it. So I'll jump into this, and let's go and have a look at human intelligence just got a lot less mysterious. And I'll see you at the end of the show. Okay, crew. Okay, let's settle down. Let's have that cup of tea or coffee or whatever's going on. Hopefully you don't want to be drinking cups of teas or coffee if you're on the treadmill. But besides that, let's jump in. It's very interesting. This is actually from neurosciencenews.com, and it's human intelligence just got less mysterious. But what they're really talking about is memories and the structure of memories. And this is really interesting because before this article came out, actually November the 5th, my dad's birthday, very nice. This is, as I say, November the 5th, 2020, this article. But again, the actual experiments or studies go back, obviously, a lot older. This is just a study that's been put together recently, or an article, I should say, that's been put together recently. But it's really cool because before, they didn't know how memories were actually structured in the brain. And what I mean by that is the rats and mice, they get a tough deal, don't they, in these labs. And I'm a vegetarian, so I don't like it, but hey, it's all right. So what they found is that they did studies with rats many years ago to actually find where the memories were, located. And what they did was it's brutal, but they systematically took away parts of the brain in the rat and put them around a maze. And what they found is that they basically took the whole brain away, and it was just the nervous system or the brain stem. And what happened is the rat was still able to move around the maze, which is quite astonishing seeing as he didn't have a brain, right? So their conclusion was that memories are not stored locally. They are stored holographically or somewhere else. They couldn't find an answer, right? So what I found interesting about this study from Leicester University in England, good old Leicester, good old England, I should say. So this is really it. A new study argues the way in which humans store memories is the key to making human intelligence more superior of that of animals. So I like this because it starts to, link into everything I just spoke about today, right? With the brain structure and being able to change. But this is going to add a new layer to that. So let's jump into it. And as always, I'm going to be reading from the article, giving my opinions. And my reading's never the best. Look, I even have dyslexia, so it's I do my best. But let's see how we get on. So neuroscience experts from the University of Leicester have released research that breaks with the past 50 years of neuroscientific opinion, arguing that the way we store memories is the key to making human intelligence superior of that of animals. It has previously been thought that the pattern separation in the hippocampus, an area of the brain critical for memory, enables separate groups of neurons to store memories so that the memories don't get mixed up. Now, after 15 years of research, Leicester University's Director of Systems Neuroscience, Professor Rodrigo Quirlega, believes that in fact the opposite pattern separation is present in the human hippocampus. He argues that contrary to what has been described in animals, the same group of neurons store all memories. The consequences of this are far-reaching as such neuronal representation devoted for specific contextual details explain the abstract thinking that characterizes human intelligence. The scientist explains, in contrast to what everybody expects, when recording the activity of individual neurons, we have found that there is an alternative model to pattern separation storing our memories. Pattern separation is a basic principle of neuronal coding that precludes memory interference in the hippocampus. Its existence is supported by numerous theoretical, computational, and experimental findings in different animal species, but these findings have never been directly replicated in humans. Previous human studies have been mostly obtained using functional magnetic resource or imaging, or fMRI, which doesn't allow recording the activity of individual neurons. Shockingly, when we directly recorded the activity of the individual neurons, we found something completely different to what has been described in other animals. This well could be the cornerstone of human intelligence. The study titled No Pattern Separation in the Human Hippocampus argues that the lack of pattern separation in memory coding is a key difference compared to other species, which has profound implications and could explain cognitive abilities uniquely developed in humans, such as a power of generalization and of creative thought. Professor Kwan believes that we should go beyond behavioral comparisons between humans and animals and seek a more mechanistic insight, asking what our brain gives rise to the unique of vast and cognitive functions in humans. In particular, he argues the brain size or number of neurons cannot solely explain the difference, since there is, for example, a comparable number of type of neuron in the chimp and the human brain, and both species have more or less the same anatomical structures. Therefore, our neurons, or at least some of them, must be doing something completely different, and one such difference is shown by how we store memories. So, when we start to understand this, right, what it's saying is there's two parts of our brain that are working simultaneously to create the difference in human intelligence, right? So when we start to understand that, so what's my point to all of this? Whether that made sense to you or not, it doesn't even matter. What I'm wanting to show in here is the difference between humans and animals. Now, we talk about humans being more superior or more intelligent, but that's not necessarily true. Humans have a certain type of intelligence that, again, we have creative thinking and we have the ability to make decisions through the prefrontal cortex. Now, animals don't have that prefrontal cortex. That's really the difference. So they're working off primal instincts, right? So when you're working off primal instincts, that is a fear response, pleasure response, right? So when we're working off those things, then we can be very reactive. Now, as human beings, we also have those same things, right? Emotional intelligence, EQ, which I've done a podcast on not so long ago, but EQ is emotional intelligence. Now, is it different forms of intelligence? So this article or these findings to me don't go deep enough, but they do bring up a really powerful conversation. So as human beings, are we supposed to be living primally? Well, people can argue that and say, what? Well, you're an animal. Well, yes, we are an animal. But we are more than that, right? Doesn't mean we're better than animals, because we're not, right? And also it depends on your intelligence. Different forms of intelligence means an animal can be way more intelligent at actually kinesthetic things. What, building stuff, right? I can't build anything, right? Physically, I'd never learned, not my thing. But animals can. So does that mean they're more intelligent than me? Well, probably some of them, right? Probably some of them. But what you need to understand about that is the other side of the opposite, or not the opposite, the other side of the primal aspect is what I like to call our higher self, or a more connected version of us, right? This is our intuition. This is our decision-making skills. This is all of the things that make humans humans, the ability to have creative thoughts, the ability to dream about the future, remember the past, change perspectives, right? All of these things make a big difference. So what's my point? My point is the brain, like it's just explained, does very different things from what potentially an animal's does. So we have to use these superpowers. What does that mean? Well, I teach this, and this is the truth if you're an entrepreneur or anything, or athlete. The thing is, we go to boot camps, we go to training camps, and we go to immersions all to learn business techniques, business knowledge, to put ourselves around mentors, right? It's the same with sports. We put ourselves around the top coaches in the world, and guess what? That teaches how to physically perform. But the challenge becomes this. They focus on the physical aspects, which are definitely needed, right? That's called a skill set. But the thing that is missing, right, which is the thing that everybody just assumes that they know how to use, is their brain and their mind, right? If you do not train it at a world-class level, you cannot perform it at a world-class level. That is just a fact. But because everyone's got a brain and a mind, they think they know how to use it. They don't. It's that simple. So what I do, it's called mental performance. And mental performance is giving people the tools, the skills to interrupt patterns, to change their focus, their emotions, their self-talk in the moment. Then we rewrite or update the automatic software that makes you think, feel, and act about the future, the past, the memories, the next business design, anything the right way. It changes your chemicals, right? It allows you to step into any room, anywhere, and absolutely be in flow and communicate at the highest level. It gives you the belief to hit that next level. Why? Because we've installed it in your brain and nervous system. That's mental performance. But what you've just seen is that that's how the human brain actually works. But we don't train it. Well, I do, and I teach thousands of people to do it. But again, that's what gets someone from 5 figures to 6 figures to 6 figures to 7 figures to 7 figures to 8 figures to 8 figures to 9 figures to 9 figures to 10 figures to 10 figures plus. That's the difference. That's what makes someone feel stressed and anxious in the morning, and in the afternoon they go and win a gold medal. That's what gets someone to go on stage and close $1 million deal. That's what gets someone who has got an idea and gets it out into the world. It's not self-help. That's making you feel good. Well, I'm going to make you feel good by installing it in your brain, and also you taking actual practical steps and physical action in your business. That's it. That's the difference. So all of this is to show you that how brilliant you can be, but it is all up to you. Make sense? Beautiful. So there's my rant over for the day. That's episode 286. And yeah, I want you to make sure that you're heading into the show notes. But I know if you're listening to this on Spotify or other things, it's hard to find those damn show notes, right? So guess what? Just head over to the Incubator group on Facebook, Mindset by Design Incubator. You can email me personally at andy@mindsetbydesign.co. Or guess what? Go over to andymurphy.biz. Say hello. Chat with us. We've got lots happening. And next week, fingers crossed, we will have a new special awesome thing for you to hit your next level. Nothing else like this in the world. You're going to absolutely love it. And it's very exclusive, and it's being handpicked, and you could be one of those people. So until then, much, much love. Keep kicking ass, and oh yeah, one more thing, 286 times. Why don't you smile for me?
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode of the Mindset by Design podcast with your host and NLP expert, Andy Murphy. We'll catch you next time.